Hello and welcome to this week's edition of All About Berea. Whether you're from Berea, live in Berea, work in Berea, play in Berea, go to school in Berea, or simply like to visit, this show is for you. I'm Chad Hembree.
And I'm Beth Meyers.
Joining us in the studio, we have Mr. Jonathan Schinhofen and Mr. Robert New. Thanks for joining us, gentlemen. Coming up later this episode, we'll have two very special guests as we celebrate Senior Week here on All About Berea. We want to welcome to the studio Miss Natalie Warren and Miss Bethany Breakall. Also coming up this hour, an update on the passing of Madison County Sheriff Jerry Combs, the news in this week's sports, the US 25 yard sale makes its way through Berea, Bob shows his enthusiasm for one of our new state representatives, this week's calendar, and much, much more here on All About Berea. Coming to you from Tech Talk Studios, in partnership with the Berea Citizen, BereaOnline.com, and Linton Cole Associates, LLC. Now it's time for 4 Things You Need to Know, brought to you by our senior news editor, Beth Meyers.
First, the Berea community was shocked and saddened by the death of Madison County Sheriff Jerry Combs this week. Sheriff Combs was found unconscious outside of his parents' home, and he was pronounced dead at the hospital later that evening. The Sheriff's Department reported that their hearts were heavy at the loss of their much-loved sheriff. Combs was a lifelong Berean who had served for several years on the Berea police force before becoming sheriff. Judge Executive Kent Clark said that Sheriff Combs had reinstituted the open door policy at the Sheriff's Department. His funeral will be this Saturday at 11 a.m. at Church on the Rock, and it's expected that quite a few people will be coming out for that. The Berea City Council passed an amended Yard Sale Ordinance on Tuesday, where Bereans can now hold up to 3 yard sales per year that can run up to 3 days long each. There is also an amendment that people can participate in the US 25 yard sale, and it won't count against their permitted days. Their permit amount was also dropped from $5 to $2 for the yard sale permits. The 2 high schools in Berea, Madison Southern and Berea Community, will be holding graduation soon. Berea's will take place on Friday, May 31st at 7 p.m. at the Seabury Center. Madison Southern's will once again take place at the EKU Alumni on Saturday, May 25th at 2 p.m. The couple that was arrested for locking their children up in their rooms are still in the Madison County Detention Center. Amber Bishop, who's 25, and Dennis Isaacs, 28, were charged with first-degree criminal abuse for keeping their 2 6-year-olds, their 5-year-old, and their 2-year-old barred in their rooms. The Berea police had been asked to assist social services on this investigation, and when they arrived, they found filthy conditions where the children had evidently been using the bathroom on themselves because they couldn't leave their room. Social Services is taking custody of the children.
We've got a lot of things going on, and I'm just really tore up about Jerry. He was a really, really nice guy, and just a lifelong Berean committed to this area. It was nice having a sheriff from Berea.
Well, and yeah, and this past week, as you've gone around and attended the different meetings, I mean, everyone has had something to say about just the huge loss this is going to leave in the community and the Sheriff's Department. I believe Mike Coyle is going to be the acting sheriff for now.
Yeah, he was the chief deputy. Is that correct? Okay.
Yeah.
And Bob, do you have anything to add to this? I mean, you kind of followed it. You knew the Combs is pretty good, didn't you?
Yeah, it was horrible. It was just a shock to hear. I know I campaigned around when he ran for sheriff, and I remember that well because it was a pretty heated battle between he and dude. So but he was doing a really good job.
O'Donnell, is that who he?
Yeah, Nelson.
Nelson O'Donnell. Yeah. I mean, and he really, as far as the transparency that he brought to the Sheriff's Department that Judge Clark talked about, pretty soon after he took office, he had instituted different community meetings around Madison County, just inviting people in all the different areas to tell them his concerns, different wishes they had for the community, different concerns they had for the community, and he was very committed to being the people's sheriff.
Well, I'll tell you, if you're planning on going Friday to the visitation, you need to get out there pretty early and just go ahead right now and expect traffic problems on US 25 going from or to Berea.
Yeah, I believe they said on Saturday from 11 when the funeral was, and then the burial at probably 11 to 3 on Saturdays will probably be pretty busy on 25.
So I'm sure they'll have police out there directing, because I know that it's going to be a large crowd expected. And if it starts at 3 and you can get there at 3, I would recommend you go early and get on through the line. And the family would love to see you. So that would be a very nice gesture. Moving on, that last story is just horrible. And we don't get a lot of that news in Berea. Thank God, right?
Well, yeah, exactly. I mean, that's why I think it's always such a shock when it does happen. When it involves young kids like that, it's just, horrifying. And yeah, thank goodness it doesn't happen a lot.
Well, this week on All About Berea, we're celebrating Senior Week, where we're showcasing a couple of seniors that have excelled in our community. And Beth, you've invited a guest in here this week, and I'll let you introduce her.
That's right. I've invited Natalie Warren, who will be graduating from Berea Community in about a little over a week. And she is a National Merit Scholar and just all-around highly accomplished student in Berea. So we invited her today. So Natalie, I appreciate you coming in. What can you tell us about your plans for after high school?
Well, I'm going to be traveling a little bit this summer. I'm going to Texas with my family. And I'm just going to enjoy a couple of months there. And then I'm going to be off to Yale University at the end of August. So
Great.
That's pretty exciting.
Congratulations on getting into Yale. Was
Thank
that
you.
one of your top choices then?
Surprisingly, actually, it wasn't, because I didn't expect to get in.
Okay. What do they call those? Your, I don't know. They always encourage you to go for the sure things and then the kind of the
Right.
stretches,
Safety
right?
school.
Yeah, safety schools and then the others.
That was
Okay.
kind of my aspiration. Like,
Okay.
Just a hopeful school, but I got in, so
All
I'm pretty
right.
pleased.
So, Natalie, do you have any idea what you might be interested in studying at this point, or?
I don't know exactly, but I'm thinking about the natural or social sciences. But Yale has a lot of opportunities and a lot of things I'm interested in, so I'll explore for a couple of years.
Yeah, I don't think that's a very limiting place to be.
Well, and actually my first contact with Natalie was when she had actually emailed me at the paper about printing a column, I believe you had done for your advanced English class,
Yeah.
on technology and kind of the pros and cons of how that's influenced our society. Is writing one of the things you enjoy as far as?
Yeah, I definitely really enjoy writing and literature. And I have thought about a major in English, but I'll definitely find ways to incorporate writing in whatever I do, I think.
Mm-hmm. Okay, great. So when does your semester start then for Yale? Like, when will you be heading out?
August 23rd is when I have to move in and start orientation, and classes start a few days after that.
Okay. So are you nervous, excited, all of the above?
Definitely all of the above. It's pretty far away, but I'm very excited. Whenever I get too nervous, I just look through the course catalog at all of the classes I can take, and it's just really exciting.
Now, Natalie, I seem to remember that you were actually homeschooled for a while, right? When did you
Yeah.
actually start to attend Berea Community?
The second semester of my sophomore year.
Okay.
So I've been there about 2.5 years, and it's been a really great experience. I've definitely grown a lot there and learned more than I ever thought I would.
Mm-hmm. So it wasn't too tough a transition for you to go from being homeschooled to public school?
No, it was great. Everyone at Berea is really supportive. It's like a big family, and so the community was really welcoming.
Okay. So what other things have you involved in with your high school career besides the academic side?
Well, I have been involved in the newspaper, the Berea Pirate, so that's been really fun. And lately, I've gotten really interested in the drama department. I student directed a play back in March, and I've helped out with stage crew and things like that, so that's been really fun.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Which play was it?
The Importance of Being Earnest. Yeah.
Oh, fun. So when you say student directed, were you in charge of that, or you worked with the drama teacher, or?
I was like the assistant director, and I ran practices when she was gone and things like that. Yeah, it was a lot of fun.
Okay, well, great. Well, it sounds like you have a bright and sunny future in front of you. It's very exciting.
Well, while we've got her in here, Jonathan, Bob, you have anything to ask our merit scholar here?
Well, I'm always partial to the mathematics. So when you said natural sciences, is that ever one of the things you consider?
I don't think I would actually major in math. I'm not one of those people who likes math for the sake of math, but I'm really interested in computer science. I've taken a couple of robotics and programming courses at Berea College, and I'm definitely thinking about that as well. I'm okay with math when it's involved with other things, but
Embedded
Yeah.
in other topics, and you can't avoid it.
right.
Well, please keep us informed and come back and talk to us again when you figure out what you're getting to in there at Yale. And that's exciting.
Yeah, then we can do spotlight on first-year college students and bring her back in here.
Well, thank you very much.
Well, thanks for coming in. We're very glad that you joined us, and good luck on everything. That was National Merit Scholar Natalie Warren from Berea Community High School. Next, coming up after the break, we'll have Miss Bethany Breakall from Madison Southern High School, who has a nice musical treat for you, all right here on All About Berea. Hello and welcome back to All About Berea. We're going to continue Senior Week now with a new young lady. Please welcome Miss Bethany Breakall from Madison Southern High School.
Thank you for having me here.
Now, first of all, let's share why I chose her to come in. It's because of her musical talents. Okay, you know, we just went from the extreme academic talents where we've got a National Merit Scholar going to Yale. Well, here we have another national title holder, if I'm correct. Is that right? The award?
Yeah, the Twin Lakes Fiddle Competition.
Yes.
And I believe she has a couple of others besides that, right? Of titles she won in Tennessee and Kentucky at different fiddle competitions.
Yeah, I've won some different stuff. I've gone to Indiana, Tennessee, Alabama, and Kentucky, of course, and I think that's about all the states I've gone to for fiddle competitions.
Those are probably the toughest fiddle competitions, so I imagine, right? Indiana, Kentucky, Tennessee.
That's really funny.
Yeah.
It's only been that many states. That's incredible.
A modest amount.
And very, very honored to have you on here. Of course, my wife has been very excited having her in choir at Madison Southern all these years, Letha Hembree, and she's actually accompanied the choir a few times and went to Allstate, right? You were in the Allstate.
Yeah, I've
Orchestra.
gone to Allstate a few years now.
Yeah. And how did you like that experience?
Oh, I loved it. It's definitely intense. I mean, we play for hours and there's not too many breaks, but the end product is just amazing.
Well, I got to hear the concerts, and they're fun. I can tell you all have a lot of fun doing it. Yeah. Well, great. Can you tell us a little bit about your senior year? What's been going on this year?
Well, this year I actually went to the middle college at EKU, and it's a new program. It's only been going on for 2 years now, and it's been amazing for me because I've been able to take 4 college classes, so I kind of, know what college professors expect from me. And through this program, I retook the ACT, and I actually got the Founders Award for EKU, so I'm excited about that.
Oh, congratulations.
Yeah. That's great. So you think you'll go to EKU? Or?
Oh, definitely.
Yeah, I was going to say, yeah. Well, I assumed that a couple of years ago in an interview that somebody won an award at EKU, and I said, well, you're going to go to EKU? And no, I'm not going to EKU.
Are you kidding?
They went to Cumberland, I think, but it was like, what? But anyway, well, congratulations. That's great. Now, can you tell us a little bit about middle college?
Middle college is a program where kids from Central and Southern can come and take college classes as well as high school classes, and they don't have to worry about transportation. Everything's free, and it's just a great experience because it's so small and people can learn a lot better that way, and the teachers are absolutely amazing. You can have one-on-one time easily. It's just great.
So what classes did you take?
As far as college classes went, I took sociology, Spanish, music history, and nutrition. So.
All right. Well, before I have Bethany play a little something for us with her father, Ray, which came in the studio with her, is there anything you all wanted to ask?
Yeah. I went to an undergraduate school with a lot of classical musicians and came to Kentucky later in life. So. Could you tell us, for those of us who might not be so much in the know, what's the difference between fiddle and violin?
Okay. A violin has strings, and a fiddle has strings. It's not, the type of instrument at all. It is how you play it. You could play Tchaikovsky's concerto, classical music, and then you could turn around and play something like Lime Rock, which I'll play here for you in a minute, and that's Texas contest style. More slides and things like that. It's pretty cool.
So, do you also play classical on your
your
fiddle and your strings?
Yes, I do. I just got done learning the Tchaikovsky concerto, which is one of the biggest challenges I've ever faced, and it's still not that great, but I tried.
So, Bethany, I was curious. At EKU, are you going to be studying music, or?
Actually, I'm going to go into the nursing program, and I would love to be a nurse practitioner someday. That's kind of my dream, and do music on the side, and teach, and just have fun with it.
Another interesting thing, Chad, is that Bethany was also homeschooled before. When did you start back in with middle college as a junior, or just your senior year?
I actually went to Madison Southern my junior year. It was my first public school, and it was actually a great experience for me. I enjoyed it a lot.
Yeah, there might be something about this magical combination, homeschool and then a few years of high school with these two very successful seniors we've had in here.
Well, yeah, my mom's an amazing teacher.
I was going to say, you have to look at...
That's true. You have to have the right teachers, which is why I'm not doing it.
There's something to that. That's right. Okay, well, we're going to have Bethany actually play some for us here in the studio. And while they're getting set, I'll you can go ahead and take your headset off there if that's going to bother you while you're playing.
She just finished her Central Kentucky Youth Orchestra stint. She was in there for years and years.
Oh, you probably couldn't hear, but Ray's telling us that Bethany was also in the Kentucky Youth Orchestra for a while. Okay, what are you going to play for us, she said?
I'm going to be playing a Texas contest style fiddle tune. It's called Lime Rock.
Okay, Lime Rock. Bethany?
Yeah, absolutely fantastic.
That was great.
I think I like the fiddle better.
Yeah, I love it.
True believer in the fiddle we are now.
I did have a question. Are you gonna at EKU? I'm not as familiar with their music program. Are there going to be any choirs you can play with there once you? Attend,
Yeah, they have a
like
choir, they have an orchestra, and all kinds of great musical opportunities. And who knows, I might join the orchestra, but as far as what I'm going into, I'd love to go into nursing. So
right. So you'll see what you have time for.
yeah, I'll just see where it takes me.
Gotcha.
Well, thank you so much for being here. Congratulations on all your accolades this year, and I'm sure that college is going to go very well for you. You got a bright future. Thanks for being here.
Well, thank you.
And thank you, Ray, for bringing her.
You're welcome.
All right, we're going to take our first commercial break. You're listening to All About Berea. We'll be back after these messages. Hello and welcome back to All About Berea. It is now time for our calendar update. Now, if you want to send something to us to be on the All About Berea calendar, all you have to do is submit it to the Berea Citizen or to bereaonline.com, and we'll make sure that we get that in there as long as it's for the community good. Go ahead, Beth.
Okay.
Quick change. After Bethany was in here, that's okay.
All right. Well, the big news, of course, for this coming week is that we're going into a holiday weekend, Memorial Day. And though there's going to be, I'm sure, a lot of family gatherings and barbecues, there's also the annual Memorial Day service that is going to be on Sunday at 2 o'clock. It'll happen at the Berea Cemetery. It's always conducted at the flagpole at the center. So we encourage everyone to go out. This will be the time to really honor our veterans, honor those who served, and there's usually a pretty good crowd out there at the cemetery. In other events, we're going to have a contra dance on Saturday night from 8 to 11. This is the regular Saturday one at the Russell Acton Folk Center. They will have a beginner lesson at 7:30, and there's going to be caller Christy Davis Camp and the band New Contrary Travelers. So adults, that'll be $7 and $4 for students and seniors. There will also be a puppet show for all those families who might be looking for something to do on Saturday afternoon at Puppets and Such. It's The Worms Crawl In and the Worms Crawl Out, where a bunch of silly worms are going to tell stories, sing songs, etc. So that's going to happen at the relatively new business in Old Town, Puppets and Such.
Okay, I have to jump in on that one. Do you know the song that's based on The Worms Crawl In, The Worms Crawl Out?
I assume it's the da 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 da.
No. I heard a song. We were taught this in elementary school, and I'll sing a little bit of it just because it's funny.
Please do, Chad.
The worms crawl in, the worms crawl out. The ones that crawl in are lean and thin. The ones that crawl out are fat and stout. And it goes on from there.
Okay, so talk about a good selling point. Get down to Puppets and Such on Saturday.
I'm sorry, I just had a flashback from my favorite teacher. Marilyn Isaacs was my music teacher in elementary school, and she was just wonderful for me, and she changed a lot of lives. I think the gym over at Silver Creek Elementary is named after her. The Marilyn Isaacs performance or whatever
okay.
center
Yeah.
it. Yeah. It's what do they call it? Gymnatorium, auditorium, gym put together.
Right, when they serve both functions.
All right, Beth, go ahead.
Okay, and then also on next Thursday at the Madison County Public Library in Berea, there's going to be sand crafts. There's actually going to be 2 sessions of these. The first one's going to start at 2, and the second one's going to start at 4. And so the library is going to be starting to gear up for their summer programming, and they always have really quite a few things during the week for families and parents. So this will be one of their first ones, which is the sand crafts. And of course, the next weekend starting in June, there's going to be a lot going on. We'll get into a little bit of that, but just remember there's going to be the L&N Day, there's going to be the Guild Craft Show, there's going to be a car show blast from the past, and there is Yep, that's about all I can think of right
That's about
now.
all you can think of? Okay, well, that's a pretty full calendar.
So June 1st is going to be a big one. So
All right, well, now we're going to go straight into sports. Now, our sports will be handled by our news analyst and chief sports editor, Mr. Jonathan Schinhofen, and here he is.
Well, we've got a new event happening that hopefully will be an annual event. There's more 5K races in Berea than you can shake a stick at these days. But as far as I'm concerned, there can't be too many. So, recent addition on June 1st, starting at 8 a.m. At Madison Southern, they are going to have a 5K, which is a fundraiser for the football team. I learned that the football team at Madison Southern actually has to raise all of their own money, and so they're hoping that the gate and the concessions and stuff like that doesn't go to the football team. So they have to raise a substantial amount of money. So this 5K is an attempt for them to do that. So it's June 1st at 8 a.m. Registration, same day registrations at 7 a.m. I communicated with Coach John Clark, and right now he says they have about 130 runners signed up and expect to have about 200. This is possibly a foolhardy thing I did, but I pledged $1 to the football team for every Madison Southern athlete who beat me in the race. So I don't know if I'm gonna.
So you plan to leave them in in your desk there?
I think your wife is saying run faster.
Yeah.
Well, I'll say in all the five.
Let me go check our checkbook here.
Yeah.
See how much we have in our account.
In all the 5K races I've run, I'm not sure I've had so much motivation. And Coach Clark has this. He finished his second year as coach at Madison Southern. He took the team to 6-4 in the regular season, won the first playoff game in some time, and has really built the team up. They had to play two platoon or one platoon, well, whatever it is. They had to play guys on offense and defense. That's one platoon football, I guess, because there weren't enough players. But now the team is bursting at the seams. They might have 100 people come out for football in the 2004 season. And in the 2 years I've known Coach Clark, he doesn't do anything small. So along with the race, the football players are going to be around to play with kids that might show up while their parents are running or whatever. And they're going to have a bounce house, courtesy of Lee's famous recipe in Richmond. So speaking of Madison Southern football, this Coach Clark has gotten a lot of his players signed for schools, but recently to play football. But recently, 2 players signed with Division I schools, which is unusual for a school of the size of Madison Southern. Tight end Spencer Stone had a walk-on offer from Wake Forest, and long snapper Matt Howard accepted an offer from the University of Kentucky. So he's having real success in just 2 years in that program. So come on out on June 1st and run the race. There's also a walk. I have a registration form here, so you can do the 1 mile walk as well. And it's it's going to be $25 to register, and there will be prizes and so forth. So, sticking with the Madison Southern High School, the year is wrapping up, and so I thought I'd just mention a few of the players who have, a few of the athletes who have, done some, gotten in with some teams. We've got Marley Jennings and Maggie Collins of the Southern Bells. It's the dance team, and they're going to EKU. They've got a partial scholarship to go dance for them. And another thing of note is the archery team. We've got Ryan Long at Madison Central, who placed 9th in a competition, national competition with 10,000 participants from more than 40 states. And he's going to get to go to South Africa to compete there.
Wow.
Yeah. Across town, Berea High School has had some success with both their tennis team and their track and field team. In tennis, the boys team won the Region 12 championship. Stephen Gadd, who is a junior, won the singles championship for Region 12. His teammate, Sam Jackson, who is a senior, was the runner-up, meaning that the teammates got to play against each other in the championship. So the team went to state competition, and those guys went on for individual competition to the state meet, where they acquitted themselves well, but didn't come home with a state championship. The track and field team, we've got two of the girls squads, the 4x200 meter relay and the 4x100 meter relay. Team of 7th grader Tasia Alexander, freshman Claire Hogg and Emma Patterson, and senior Hannah Haycraft represented Berea at the state meet for the 4x200 meter relay and the 4x100 meter relay. Bailey Rosenbarker, 10th grader, and Lincoln Satterthwaite, who's a junior, got to run the 1600 meter for Berea at the state meet. For those of you keeping score at home, 1600 meters, most of us call that a mile, but that's what that was the event. And Hannah Haycraft, who was also on the 4x and the 2x team, competed in the long jump. The team was rounded out by Raymond McKinney, a sophomore who ran the 3200 meter, which is 2 miles to you and me.
I'm glad he clarifies that.
Well, so he ran in 10 minutes 44 seconds, and I ran 2 miles today, 10:51, so doing all right. Of course, that was
per mile.
Per mile.
So that mathematician, let me make sure I got this right. You do it times 2, right? With the 10 minutes.
Well, yeah, if you're being technical, that'll be 20 minutes and 102 seconds.
Way to keep it real, John.
Yeah. So if there's any Madison Southern athletes out there who want to earn $1 for the football team,
take one for the team.
Yeah, you'll know what you're up against. I run about an 11-minute mile. So.
Well, thank you, Jonathan, for covering all that. And it's at the end of school here. I know it really does get crazy with how much there is to talk about. Of course, fall is almost as bad.
The beginning of fall, yeah.
Yeah. But what about this summer? Do we have any news on signing up for anything, or is it too late for that already? Have all the youth leagues already signed up?
Well, I know the Berea Youth League for softball and baseball actually had their opening ceremonies a couple of weeks ago.
That
they start early. Yeah,
they do. It's a little bit difficult for parents like us, like me and Beth, who don't always register their kids in, say, January, February for summer baseball. But
we have a separate account for late fees in the bank.
Yeah.
Well, thanks again, Jonathan. And you can find more of Jonathan. He's not only our chief sports editor, but he's also a sports columnist for the Berea Citizen. So you can find more of his stuff in the Citizen. And we're going to take another quick break since we ran a little long with our seniors, which is well worth it. And we'll be right back with political news. Hello and welcome back. You're listening to All About Berea. And now it is time for our political section, and leading that will be Mr. Robert New, our senior political analyst.
This week, Judge Executive Kent Clark held his State of the County address. In it, he kind of made a surprise announcement to everyone that the state was going to hold off on the Exit 95 redesign, which is not really Berea, it's the northern part of the county. The problem that they're having is the connector road they're wanting to build from Exit 95 there all the way over to Nicholasville. There's 4 proposed routes, and also a plan in the fray that they're not going to build that because they've had such a outcry from the citizens in that area. The good news for Berea in that is that next year they may start finishing our bypass from that goes from 25 over to Kentucky 21, which would be good news for Berea. Hopefully alleviate some of the traffic off of 25, especially during the peak times of the day when school lets out. It's horrible trying to get up that way.
We've been waiting for that for a long time.
Well, last year they had the big debacle about whether we want to go 4 lanes or 3 lanes with a turn lane
With the Highway 25.
Yeah. That, I think that kind of caught everybody by surprise that all the business owners there showed up to complain, which they should have taken that into consideration before they actually paid for the design. They should have got a little more input on that. The other thing that the judge talked about was the growth of the county and how we're growing so fast that our jail is so overcrowded. I forget the exact numbers. We have a 192 bed facility, and we're routinely housing more than 275 inmates. I don't know how they do that, and they sleep in shifts like they do in the Navy.
Right, sleep on the floor. I mean, yeah, it's and you can imagine how that affects the jail population as well.
Well, you mentioned the growth of the county, and that's one of the things involved with the Berea bypass in particular is people might not want the bypass to go, through their yard or by their business or something. But the fact is, the county is growing, and we can't have this little 2-lane U.S. highway going all the way through Berea, and we have to build it somewhere. And that's where a lot of the fuss is whose land or whose.
Well, I think they've got most of that worked out now. So the concerned parties would have been 2 years ago. So yeah, I guess
I'll tell you the one thing that surprises me, and we've kind of gone from news now to just talking, but there's not been a lot of growth along the bypass that they've got so far. I kind of expected already, that there would be a gas station going up out there. Maybe those guys, the farmers, don't want to sell their farmland.
See, we need a bypass that we need a bypass for. Because there's so much business.
Well, and I think the planning and zoning has tried to be, I don't know the details on this, but has tried to be careful on that. And I know there's been talk about only keeping it at the intersections, because if you look at the bypass around Richmond, that is not an efficient way to get around Richmond. So I think there's some concern about keeping another thing too about the bypass is, there's a shared use path that has now been accepted by the state. Right. I know the city of Berea was actually very surprised. I think that the state said okay on that because they had refused. So that might affect how much. I don't know how that would affect business growth or not, but I know they are going to have some
Well,
biking, walking paths
I
along
think
it.
the state changed their deal on that when it became the popular thing to do.
They
Sh-
wanted to be the
share-
cool
yeah,
state.
yeah,
Is that what you're
yeah,
saying?
Shared use path is the cool kids thing. You know?
Well, the other project going on right now, and this is more of a public service announcement. The road, they're widening Menelaus Road there from the bypass out to the new middle school. So if you're going to be on that road, be prepared, because that's a narrow road that goes down that hill by NACO and then back up. And once they start working on that, it's going to be hard to get through there.
I remember when they were talking about getting Ferristown built, and there was a real concern among a lot of parents. I remember going to that meeting because they're like, oh, that road, they just couldn't imagine having buses and then all the industrial employee traffic and all of that on that one road.
This week they've been moving the utility poles back. They moved the fence around NACO. They moved it almost right to the edge of that pond they have out front. And now they've moved the utility poles back. So hopefully we'll be seeing that road widening project get going. Which I don't understand why they don't bury, anytime they have to move those utilities, why they don't just spend the money and put them underground.
Yeah, bury the lines here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Chad and I had that discussion about my house up here.
Well, Bob, thank you for sharing the political news with us. If you want to hear more of Bob's political news, you can find his blog at bobnew.com, and you're also writing for Bluegrass Conservative, is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah, .com as well?
Yeah.
All right, thanks a lot, Bob. Now, each week we're going to kind of rotate around, having a little, well, it can be a rant, it can be a brag, whatever, however you want to take it. But Bob's got a little something he's going to share with us this week.
This week, WKYT announced on their website, they did a story on the Direct Express prepaid debit cards that they're using for government assistance, federal government assistance. And one of the complaints I had is on the first of the month, when those cards come out to people, at 1 o'clock in the morning, there are huge lines of cars of people backed up to withdraw their money. The police in the towns that this is happening is saying that it's a problem because crime rates go up at that time. And there was a whole discussion online about, it's their money, they can draw it out anytime they want. But that's not what I want to talk about. WKYT went to several legislators and showed them this video to try to get a comment. The one legislator that would comment was our representative, Jonathan Schell. The only legislator that would talk to him on camera. The freshman legislator out of Lancaster. So I want to say kudos to him for stepping up and, going out on the record. He kind of talked about bills that they've talked about in Frankfurt before, drug testing for welfare recipients and things like that. So I just wanted to do a shout out to him for having the guts to go on camera and at least give his point of view and comment on that while all the other guys ran and hid.
Well, and you said Jonathan's going to come on the show, right?
Yeah.
So we'll have him on here pretty soon.
Well, I know that's about the most frustrating thing for a constituent is to have an essentially invisible legislator. So
I know, Jonathan, a lot of people, there's two sides. A lot of people agree with him, a lot of people don't. But I got to hand it to him. He always he'll tell you why he voted the way he did. All you have to do is contact him. He votes his convictions. So whether you like the guy or not, at least, I like to give him credit for that. He's a stand-up guy.
All right, Bob, thanks for sharing that. Now we're going to take our last break, and when we come back, we'll be wrapping up this week's show. Hello and welcome back as we finish up this week's edition of All About Berea. It's been a very interesting show.
It has been. I was really delighted with having Bethany and Natalie here, and I just this sounds very Pollyanna, but I've just been really impressed with the teenagers, the youth that we have in our Berea community. I just think they're extraordinary, and here we've got quite a few of them getting launched in the next couple of weeks, and I just wish them all the best. I have no doubt that they'll make us proud. I know at Berea Community they've been talking about this class, the next couple. They just have really just extraordinary kids who are doing really well.
It's a phenomenal. We've got a lot of talent here, and it's just such a wonderful community to be in. Now, this show actually came out of an idea that we had back. We've been covering the Christmas parade every year, and Beth actually joined the broadcast for the Christmas parade this year. And ever since then,
My first time on radio, I might add.
We had talked about getting together and doing a show. So I'm very excited to be in here in the studio. We want to thank Bethany Breakall and Natalie Warren for spending their time with us today, and their fathers, who it was kind of interesting that both of them were escorted here by their fathers.
Well, they've got to make sure that we're on the up and up, right?
There you go. And I think it says Rob Warren and Ray Breakall, right?
Right.
So we had two R's there going on.
It's kind of neat. Chad and I have kind of watched Natalie grow up. We've known her from church forever.
Yes.
Since she was little. So now to see her headed off to Yale, that's...
Well, I have to be honest. When it came time to invite her to come in for the interview, and Bethany said, "Well, her, just go." Beth said, "You know her, go ahead." And I was like, "No." She knows me as just the guy that's went to church with her, who was a youth minister, who was been with her, for all these years. I said, "You call her."
Yeah, I think it was I don't want to be the one from the church asking her to do something.
Yeah,
it needs to be a
her.
more objective
That's
person asking. But
And I think that did mean a lot, the way we went about that. That worked out. We want to thank our sponsors, of course, the Berea Citizen, BreaOnline.com. They're our main sponsors and supporting this program jointly together. We've got Linton Cole Associates, and you just actually, Bob, this is you. So I mean, you incorporated, is that?
Well, we
are
now an LLC.
All right. Well, tell a little bit about Linton Cole while you're.
We design web pages. We've gone into more marketing, online marketing for small businesses, nonprofits, a few political campaigns, helping them design ads, just that sort of thing. Real estate's the biggie now. Real estate's starting to pick back up, so a lot of the people we had done work for who were realtors are coming back now and wanting updates. So.
yeah, I know we're finally back to 3 pages classified, and a lot of that went down from 4 because of the real estate. You could tell the housing boom went down. We lost a page of classifieds ads. It was a direct hit.
Now you want to give your web address there?
Yeah, it's lintoncole.com, lintoncole.com.
All right. Is there anything else you all wanted to add to this week? No?
No, this is just, appreciate you getting this together.
All right.
Chad.
I want to thank Robert New, Jonathan Schinhofen, Beth Meyers, myself, Chad Hembree. We're coming to you from Tech Talk Studios. We'll be back next week with more news about Berea. Thanks for listening.